What's good, people? It's Hearse here, and I'm back again with
Big Josh. What it do?
with the bestie. We are back again for another dual-hosted duel. We each brought our competitor. One is both of us have no idea who the other one picked, and this is just our throwdown fight. We're bringing two comic book characters to the table. It can be any comic book character from anywhere. It's completely random. And we just have to argue for why our person or creature or whatever, alien, what have you, would win over the other. Powers or not. Like, it doesn't matter if you want to pick Aunt May versus the Sentinels. You would have to make that argument. Well, she's a non-mutant, so they wouldn't even bother her, and then she could sabotage the whole thing. Whatever, you know? But we have to make those types of arguments.
Yep.
All right, so you revealed your character first last time.
Okay.
Should I do mine this time?
Yeah, are we going to do predictions first?
Okay, sure.
All right. So, I feel like since we both kind of went with lesser branded characters, if you will, last time, I think maybe you went with more of a popular branded character, but maybe still a lesser known. And I think to throw me off, you probably went DC Universe. So, I'm going to guess totally out of left field, Solomon Grundy.
Wow. Okay. Well, I at least know who that character is, but no, didn't pick him this time. But kind of in the same realm where I would say that my character is more known, maybe not to just the average moviegoer, even though there's been hints at this character, but never appeared in any movies or anything. But
Not even as a cloud?
Not even as a cloud. No. That hurts. So, based on those hints, do you have a clue of who I'm picking?
Still nothing.
Still nothing? Okay. And for you, I didn't really think too much about who you could have brought today. Jeez. Yeah, so I'm completely at a loss. I have no real grounds of... I mean, I guess I could do the same thing where, like, because we both chose non-Marvel, non-DC... Maybe you felt comfortable enough to also go to Marvel. But yeah, I have no clue. I don't know where you're at or who's in your corner this week.
Okay. Well, let's hear your character. Who do you bring to the table today?
All right, so my character was just born a regular old guy, and he became a scientist and eventually realized that, you know what, people might eventually evolve into mutants. And he wrote this big thesis on it and gained some popularity. And then one day, this guy kind of noticed and showed up and said, "You're right, but you're wrong. It's not gonna happen. It's already done happened." And he's like, "Yeah, right, dude." And then the apocalypse grew into this huge creature and fucking snatched him up and taught him that, no, it's happened. You just met the first mutant. And he then gives this man powers. He augments him, and he becomes Mister Sinister.
Oh, okay.
Now, Mister Sinister is a character that I've known about. You know, I've seen him a lot in the 90s cartoon. I have no idea what his powers are pre-fight.
He kidnapped my boy Morph.
I've seen him, you know, in stuff, but he's always like a kingpin type character where he's like the one pulling the strings, not really out fighting. So I was like, you know what? I need to dive in and find out who this character is. This is a good way to actually do a little bit of diving and see how he might actually be as a combatant.
Okay. Mr. Sinister. I really hope they bring him into the movies the right way. Like you said, they've hinted at him so many times. You know, we've all seen the Essex logo briefcase or in the background on the posters and things like that. And yeah, it'd be definitely awesome to see him. I think he poses a pretty good fight. Again, I don't know his powers. All I know is from the animated series, so I know his eyes glow red.
That's scary.
He can take a blast from Cyclops right to the gut, and it just oozes his green stuff. I remember that from the 90s cartoon. But other than that, like you said, he was really like a delegator. You know, he had hired goons and sent them to do some stuff. So it's going to be an interesting fight against my character, who... It's really a version of a character that I went with. Because this character's powers travel or can be imbued onto different people. And then every version of that character has, for the most part, the same powers, but slightly different powers depending on who has these powers, particular powers.
The Rider?
It is the Rider.
Woo! All right.
I picked, but the particular version of Ghost Rider I picked is Ghost Rider 10,000 BC.
Oh, nice.
He rides a fucking mammoth.
Yes. Did you see the new one where he rides on a tarantula? And because there's skeletons on the outside, it just looks like a flaming tarantula?
That's sweet. I haven't seen that yet.
It's really cool.
But,
wow. Okay.
For those uninformed, Ghost Rider basically, he's just made of bones and fire, and it looks awesome. He has the ability to transform his whatever he rides, whether it be a motorcycle, a horse, a freaking mammoth, and it's going to be super fast, faster than any normal vehicle or modern vehicle. I mean, at one point he outruns a throned Mjolnir. I mean, not my Ghost Rider, but Johnny Blaze. But yeah, everyone's very familiar with Ghost Rider's powers. You know, the Hellfire chain, the pen and stare. I don't think I have to explain too much about Ghost Rider. And the Ghost Rider 10,000 BC basically has all these powers, but he does have one power that the others don't have, and that's he can reincarnate the dead.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So,
yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight, but I think you're off on the number there. I think he's 1 million BC. I think is what that version of Ghost Rider's from.
Could be a missing zero. I've never been good with numbers.
But yeah, I actually just bid on his first appearance in Marvel Legacy #1. I kind of wanted all of those guys, and I collect Ghost Rider too, so that's cool.
So definitely the power levels in this battle are definitely stepped up.
Yeah, for sure, because basically what I'm seeing in my mind is a very concentrated power set versus a very broad power set.
Okay.
Because when I was diving into Mister Sinister, I quickly realized that I can't even write this much to actually like determine what powers he really has. Because the thing is he was a geneticist, and he's basically in the market for stealing powers. He all he needs is your blood. If he has your blood, he can replicate anything. Like, this man has taken Cyclops' blood and cloned Cyclops, and like so many of them that all they do is they take their eyes and use them as grenades. So he's literally throwing Cyclops' eyes at people and using them as grenades, which is just the most craziest thing. Like, somebody sat down and thought that shit up. And I'm sorry I keep cussing. We're not supposed to. But I made the rules, so whatever. But I pulled up the Marvel fandom on my phone here, and let's go through his power set, which I think I don't have to do entirely, but at least to a degree here. Let me scroll. Okay, so his power grid is intelligence 5, strength 4, speed 3 normally, but he can teleport. So he has teleportation abilities. But some people argue whether or not this is part of his actual powers or if it's part of his home base. Like his base of operations has the ability to teleport. Durability 7, energy projection is 4, and fighting skills is also at a 4. He has genetic enhancements using mutant DNA. So like I said, originally he is a human that Apocalypse imbued powers to. And part of his initial powers was just immortality and a super strong regenerative healing factor. But through being, like, he has these little robots, basically like Frieza does, where like they go around and just collect blood all the time. So he can just nefariously do whatever he wants with whoever. So he learned endopathy, so he can actually control every molecule of his body, enabling him to metamorph basically into any type of structure or like shapes. So basically, like Apocalypse can, how he can make his hands like into pistons or whatever to punch people. He can shapeshift into a semi-liquid state or harden his body like armor. He has superhuman strength, durability, reflexes, stamina, and superhuman speed. He has telepathy. He also learns how to cloak himself telepathically from other telepaths. He has a mind link where he can just connect his mind to somebody, and it's permanent.
Like Morph.
He can create telepathic illusions, telepathic blasts, mind control, mind possession, mind alteration, mental amnesia, astral projection, like Strange can do. He has the ability to mentally paralyze people by touching them. Telekinesis, he can move things with his mind. So even though he's super strong, he can then lift up to 100 tons of weight with his telekinesis. So if he can't like physically lift it, he can just use his telekinesis. He has concussive blasts from his hands that can match Cyclops' energy blasts at full force. He can make force fields and telepathically fly, or telekinetically fly. He can interface with technology by touch. He has a genius intellect. He's a genius level geneticist. He's a master surgeon, skilled mechanical engineer, master manipulator, trained combatant. That's about like halfway through. I guess it's a smaller list of things he can't do.
Probably.
Which is just absurd, right? So give me a rundown on what this Ghost Rider can do here.
All right, so Ghost Riders of every age, not just the 1 million BC, but they all basically have the same powers, with a few alterations to each version depending on who has the power. But for the most part, they're all going to be super strong. They all have superhuman strength. Johnny Blaze was known to have lifted upwards of 25 tons on his own. There has never been any like strain or limit on it, so no one knows how much they can actually lift, but that was shown in the comics at one point. They're virtually indestructible, possibly immortal. No one knows. No one's ever killed a Ghost Rider, at least as far as the comics go that I'm aware of. I mean, they do get their powers from hell, basically, or from God, for that matter. Anything they're riding becomes super fast. They have like an ethereal flame, basically, the Hellfire. They have like Hellfire, fire breathing. Everything they're surrounded in is Hellfire. It's not just regular fire, but They all have some weapon. Whether the most common weapon is that you see is the Hellfire chain, but it can become whatever the holder needs it to be. So depending whatever version has the weapon, sometimes you see it more like a blunt end on it, or it's got a spear end on it, and no one knows how long the chain is because it appears like it's only a few feet long, and then he throws it. He can wrap up several people at once. It's just, it's broken, basically. He can break down the chain and form smaller projectile weapons. In one of the comic panels I saw, he literally separated the links and they became little like ninja throwing stars, each one. And then not too long ago, actually, it was revealed that the chain is formed from the bones of Sidorak. So, for those who don't know, Sidorak is what gave Juggernaut his powers. He's a god. Through the Sidorak gem, he gave basically Juggernaut his powers through that gem. And in the comics now, Juggernaut has defeated Sidorak, so he's no longer bound to Sidorak's will. But that's not here nor there. That's a future battle. So, and then, like, his ultimate weapon that he does have is the Penance Stare, which induces self-mortification by showing every negative action, behavior, sensation, and sin that whoever he's doing it to has ever done. The effects are basically like they're burning in the hellfire, like, because they feel so bad. That's ultimately what it is, and it leaves them like a husk of what they were when it's done. So mostly he uses it on evil, but he has been known to use it just to end a fight quickly if the need arised. Yeah, and so that falls under, like I have written down here, soul manipulation, but that's the Penance Stare, fire breathing. So he has a very, like he said, a concentrated ability pool, power pool, but very effective. It is said that God created them, so only God can destroy them. So take that for what it's worth, I guess.
Well, I guess that's the thing with Marvel, right? Is that, like, there's not just the one God. You have a lot of different gods. And I was trying to think of times where Ghost Rider was defeated and not just like killed, because I don't think a Ghost Rider has been killed. But yeah, that's interesting. They are incredibly, like, undervalued. I feel like people don't give them as much credit as they really deserve. Like,
which is crazy because he'd be an Omega level, like, character, but for sure.
Right. Yeah, like, because I mean, imagine him just rolling up on Thanos and being like, "Feel the wrath of every victim you ever had."
He tried that; it didn't work out so well.
It didn't work with Thanos? Oh shit!
So yeah, there's the future timeline where Frank Castle becomes the Ghost Rider, as well as having the power cosmic imbued on him by the Silver Surfer. And the only way to really defeat Thanos is he ends up going, like, back in time and kidnapping baby Thanos. But because when he tried against the real Thanos, he ended up becoming Thanos' bitch. So.
Well, that was like King Thanos, right?
King Thanos, yeah. He basically killed everybody except Frank Castle. And Silver Surfer, who had, like, random celestial beings in his army.
See, but I'm remembering back to the video that I made about the Punisher, and one of the things that came up is that he is unique in the way that he feels no remorse for any of the murders that he's done, because they're in vengeance to his family. He's always forever in debt, basically paying off those murders with as much hatred and just unrelentless killings that he can do. And when he's fought Ghost Rider and the Ghost Rider used Penance Stare on him, it was ineffective to a degree, because I mean it still affected him, but it was it was nothing new to him. Like
Right.
he feels it all, so it didn't actually like win the fight for Ghost Rider, and Frank just was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like
Thanks for the nice dreams, buddy.
like so like I wonder if Sinister would be on that same type of page, because I mean,
For him, it's all science, so he doesn't have a whole lot of emotion wrapped into the stuff he does.
right, like he's not, I mean, he's doing it to be sinister, like that's like, which happens to be the last word of his dying wife was her calling him that,
Right.
like calling him sinister because of these experiments and stealing the corpse of his child to experiment on it and everything. So maybe, hey, that could be your in. If this Ghost Rider was bringing back Nathaniel Essex's baby son from the dead,
He can reanimate.
it might actually get in his head.
Little zombie Sinister or something.
Yeah, little teeny zombie Sinister. That might be his only play that can actually mess with Sinister, and being the telepathy is he might see through it.
Right.
Just being able to read like, oh, okay, you want to use that against me? Cool, try.
Try to cut it off right then and there.
Right. Yeah. So, like, when I was reading these powers and stuff for Mister Sinister, I was like, oh my god, this is Marvel's Batman. All these years, I thought it was Moon Knight or Daredevil or what? No, this guy is written to always win. Like, sooner or later, he might lose today. He might get his back broke by Bane.
I feel like he's lost
But he's
a lot
coming back.
in the animated series. He was never really on top.
But he's never hurt, though, either.
I don't know. He had the green bubbling stuff that when Cyclops shot him.
That went away right away.
It took like 3 seconds.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, what do you think you can do to actually stop Sinister?
Well, I think that... I honestly, like, Sinister definitely is going to out ability him with the amount of stuff he can do. Like, messing with... But could he really affect a Ghost Rider's mind? Like, what is in a Ghost Rider's mind?
I don't know. I don't know this Ghost Rider enough to say what this Ghost Rider has seen. Because, I mean, there's, all kinds of stuff you could play off of in Johnny Blaze's mind. I mean,
Right.
you can play with his dad. You can play with
This
heart.
This
like,
Ghost Rider, when they came to give him they basically picked him for whatever reason out of everyone else in his cave, his tribe, if you will, because they were, the Neanderthal men or whatever they're called, cavemen basically, and his whole tribe, they had never left their cave or nothing. So when they came to give him they selected him, they basically killed everyone in his tribe, and he left him alone. And the guy was like, well, since this guy can survive outside of the cave, maybe I can too. So he went out, basically exploring on his own, knowing that everyone in his tribe was dead. Not knowing he had been basically chosen to be this version of Ghost Rider. But, so I guess they can probably play on the whole dead relatives thing in his head to kind of mess with him. But would that just piss him off more? I don't know. See, this version of Ghost Rider has probably less information about it than every version out there, probably. Like there's a couple like alternate universe versions who are just like 1 or 2 panel characters, but all they do is compare him to other Ghost Riders. He has all the same powers, all the same everything, just that he has the extra power to raise the dead. But he rides a flaming mammoth, so I feel like he wins based on just that. Dial points.
See, Sinister can have an army as well. Like you said, he has, in the cartoon, he has all kinds of goons. He's, like, essentially the leader of the Marauders, and so, I mean, I don't know how many of the dead he would be willing to bring to the fight with him, but I don't know. I think Sinister can really cut through a lot. Being able to just, I mean, with Cyclops' blasting ability, but like from hands, so you can actually spread it, more so than just Cyclops' eyes could. But like, I don't know like how effective his dead army would be that he's bringing to the show.
Right. I get that. I mean,
he could just teleport super far away, and then he just brings just the mammoth and himself. Just
the
leave
flaming mammoth.
Just leave the main battle to the goons and teleport somewhere to make the rider follow,
or
a trap,
or the rider just kills the goons and then reanimates them.
I mean, true, but like, still, Sinister's the strongest one of the troop. So I mean,
it's true.
It's like, I don't know how well they would still.
How
isn't that funny? Like however much you want to stack up against this Marvel Batman, he can just.
I don't like that term because he has powers. Batman is just rich. But how?
Well, I mean, the power is all in the pen. The writer says,
"Okay, Stan." So if Ghost Rider can't die, but he can't win the fight,
and Sinister can't die,
he's immortal as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So are they just locked in this forever combat?
Because I mean they very well could be, because I don't know if the penance stare would be enough because of how emotionally like forfeit he is, because all he wants to do is collect genetic samples and make more freaks and power himself up even more. So I mean, like, I feel like it ultimately could lead to that, where who's going to get bored first type thing.
The Watcher.
Yeah. Us.
Oh, this fight again? Oh, God.
But I guess you could really argue either way.
Yeah. But
because Sinister is only going to care as long as it furthers his agenda. Which, if your agenda is collecting blood samples and genetically altering people, a bunch of skeletons isn't what he wants. So you have the upper hand there to just be, dead. and Ghost Rider is the same. Like, underneath that jacket, he's bones.
Yeah.
Bones. Yeah, so I mean, he's not going to get any sample from him either.
I feel like, though, with these two like locked in combat, it's going to attract other outside fighters, and maybe that's where he gets the blood from. These other fighters getting involved, and Sinister can just harvest that.
Yeah, because I mean, he literally has just about anybody. Like, his superhuman strength and durability and speed came from like Thunderbird, I read, and some of it's like very cut and dry where they show it, like him extracting the blood or talking about it and using it, but basically it comes down to just written whatever. He's like, last week we got the blood of Rogue. Don't ask how, because it was off panel, and we can't show it here because it makes no sense.
Right.
But it happened. Here it is.
That's really any comic book character. Like it's whatever the writer feels like doing, they'll fit it into their story. But yeah. So I can't see how Ghost Rider could win, but I also don't see how he's going to lose. I guess so that's where I'm at.
I'm also there because I feel like. Ultimately, Sinister is just gonna, like, even if you have a mammoth dancing on this guy, ultimately he just being able to turn into a liquid form, kind of makes being stepped on even just like, okay, like, tire yourself out if you wanna, just please don't crap on me. But But yeah, I don't. I just see it as being that standstill. But even though, as far as strength versus strength, you said 25 tons.
It's only been
he had
proven,
100 tons.
It's only been proven 25. There
Yeah,
has never been anything to show his maxed out capabilities.
Maybe we're stronger than you.
Or maybe Ghost Rider's stronger. It only shows he's only shown to lift 25 tons, but it's never shown a limit. So he's never tried to pick something up and just couldn't do it, which I'm sure Sinister's the same way. And like you said, if he tries to lift something, he's unable. He's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll just use the Force.
Yeah.
Yoda told me. I got Yoda blood. Don't ask how.
Well, in the Age of Apocalypse movie, when he opened the case, we saw green blood.
That's right.
Could have been Yoda. Doesn't necessarily have to be the Hulk. Sorry, Lou. Yoda's blood is greener.
Oh, man. All right, we're getting hate in the comments for that.
Fight me.
All right, so I guess I'm tapped out.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like again, I can't see Ghost Rider winning against Sinister, but I can't see him losing. I feel like one of them would always be on top until they're either bored or tired. Then the other one can take over until the other one's bored or tired. Like all they can do is contain each other. I think no one's gonna win this fight.
I agree. But you can settle it in the comments below. They're like on the last one. We'll have one comment for like this one if you think Ghost Rider takes the fight, and like this comment if you think Sinister would win the fight. So you can actually be the one to end this debate.
Just remember, flaming mammoth of bones.
Remember glowing eyes, though. He said that was scary.
Did I?
How do you scare a mammoth?
A flaming mouse.
Okay, well, I got those.
Genetically flaming mice?
Yes, because I have the blood of Sunfire.
And you experimented on Splinter, you bastard.
All right, well, that's all we have today. I mean, we got more time, but not for any more of this stalling. So we're just going to call it there. You got anything to say at the end?
Yeah, don't have a good day. Go fuck yourself, Seattle.